Continue with Reishis Chochma. Last time we learned, so he taught us that just like in the egos, a type of nut, there are four peels, three of which are inedible. The fourth is edible. So also in evil, there's like four types of evil that we need to break through. Right, three are just have to totally break. The fourth could be converted into goodness. So now in the Navi Yechezkel, he talks about when he's having his prophecy that he had his prophecy in Chutzlart, so he had to break through it, to break through the Tumah of Eretz Ha'amim. So there's Ruach Sa'ora from the Minat Safon, a storm wind from the north. Anan Gadol, great cloud, Eish Misakachas, and there was fire within that cloud. And Vinogalo, and there was like a shine, a glow, right? All right, and then come the four chayos, which are, as a word, that he actually gets the prophecy per se of the four animals, which are connected to four edges of the egos. So now you see, so we see this theme also elsewhere. There are these three klipos that, like you said, which these three klipos, by the way, you said are connected to 3 years of Orla. The fourth year of the tree, that could be redeemed. Netaravai or Karamavai can be redeemed and it could be eaten. So there's like three that just have to be totally thrown. There's a fourth that could be converted to goodness. Okay. So now these three, klipos, husks that need to be thrown, also appear in the Nevuah of Eliyahu, Shneimar. Hashem over, so Hashem is passing before him, in prophetic vision. There's this great wind that just breaks mountains and breaks stones and rocks. Hashem is not in that great, stone smashing wind. And after the wind, there's a great noise, or like an earthquake, right? Great noise. Lo barasha, I'm sure it's not that great noise. Vacharash eish and after this great noise, this great trembling is fire, and lo Hashem, and Hashem is not in the fire. Vacharash kol tmodak, after that is a very, very, very silent voice. Uperush Mari Alav Hashem said, my Rebbe, the Moshe Cordovero, in the Sefer of Pardes, Pardes Rimonim, his magnum opus on Kabbalah, his most comprehensive book. So now, even though there's actually 10 klipas, Zelu Maseh Oslokim, everything that there is in Kedusha has its evil twin. Zelu Maseh Oslokim. So now, if in Kedusha we have Eser Spheres, which are connected to the Asar Ma'amar Shabam Nivra Olam, Keser, Chochma, Bina, Chesed, Gvur, Tiferes, Netzachod, Yesod, or Malchus, or sometimes we count it as Chochma, Bina, Das, Chesed, Gvur, Tiferes, Netzachod, Yesod, and Malchus. So for every one of those things, there's an evil twin. So there's actually 10 klipas. Truth is, we'll find in some places that there are 11, because the 11th is like the Bechina of Das that was stolen from Kedusha, that gives life to these 10, the captive spark of holiness that gives life to these 10 evil twins of the Esther Spheres. So now, even though we know that there's 10 klipas parallel to the Esther Spheres, Shoshemei Shloisha, Keneged Shosha Klipa Egos HaNiskar. But we know that in root of it, there are 3. Now, what does that mean, 3? So now, if anyone's ever seen the diagram of the Spheres after the Tikkun, I don't want to, this takes too long to explain, but I'm just saying for your own knowledge. In the Spheres the Tohu, which broke, so there's Keser, Chochma, Bina, but then stacked on in a single line is Chesed, Gvur, Tiferes, that's all you sewed. Right, Malchus, all B'chad Kara, like one leg, right, which did not endure. But the Spheres the Tikkun, right, is they are balanced because there's a right side, a left side, and a middle, right? So it's a tripod, which gives it balance. Chesed, Gevura, right? That's right, left, and the Kavarachamim, right? The line of mercy, which is machria, which mediates between the extremes. So it's a tripod: right side, left side, center. So on the right side, we'll have Kesser first on the center, right? And on the right side, Chochma, Chesed, Netzach. On the left side, it'll be Bina, Gvura, Hod. And down the middle, it'll be, it'll be after Kesser, like we said, it'll be Tiferes, Yesod, and Malchus, right? Right. That's the So now, what it means that also these three categories are connected to three general categories. These three lines, okay, the three categories of types of midas that we have. Chesed, its opposite Gvura, Din, and the middle Rachamim. And just like we have these three categories in Kedusha, they're going to have their evil twin in Tumah. And that's what he's going to explain now. Let's talk about connected Rashi B'lei Vav Imhem Echad. And it's like these three, klipas are connected to three categories. So you could divide all midas in. And these are the three klipas that are in the Yetzer Hara in the heart. And even if they are in root all once, just Yetzer Hara, it's just to be bad. But they're being bad as three types of badness parallel to the three kavim, kava chesed, kava din, and kava rachamim, an evil twin, as we're going to explain. Echad, number one is the is the gava, just being haughty. Connected ruach though chazan fits because it's like haughty is like being full of hot air, being high, right? And that's like the ruach, which both Yechezkel and Elio see first. The ruach sarabam natzafon, or Elio sees ruach gadol the chazak before karim. All right, ublisa gava shosh chal midas. Now, of course, gava's connected keser in the Kesser is the highest. Also, Gava's being high, haughty, but it's definitely the root. Just like Kesser is the root of all the bad midas, Gava is the root of all bad midas. Right? Be'ez Hashem Bashar is going to explain Shar HaNova later in the Sefer. And that we say in the Kunim that the heart is like that egos, that nut that has these klipas, that an orla that needs to be weird, like orla solev, that needs to be rid of. So shona bagasus liba, right, and being of haughty heart. Diyu shlim beklipen delev lo itavar. It's like totally, it's like such a strong husk. It's a perfect husk that cannot break. Aleit martosh galev. That's why Hashem is disgusted. He finds it abominable anyone who has a haughty heart. And the Shekhinah cannot dwell there. The Rambam writes the same thing in Hilchos. Gaiva is one thing you just gotta get rid of totally. Mamod amod avishval ruach. You gotta get rid of it. You gotta get rid of it totally. Right? It's like the Bechinas Keser, right? The shorish of the middle line, which everything branches out from. It's like the shorish of all bad midas also, right? Right, it's like the worst midah. It is where that's why you have to be on a total, to be totally go to the opposite extreme of ma'od modevish ruach. And the Rambam writes Hilchos Deis. Those are we say the klipen ikru nasha b'nei nasha arle lev, and Shekhinah cannot dwell on anyone who has gava. Right, it's also in the Gemara that that Hashem says about the gava, and then you call it durechad, the world's not big enough for the two of us, me and the guy with the Baal Gaiva, the Baal Gaiva are called Arilev, having a sealed heart, having an orla on the heart. It's mamash, it is the worst midah, right? The worst midah that is the root of all other bad midas. Sheni can klipas egos akashu yosodam kshay oref. Now another thing is that there's another hard peel. just hard, that it's inedible, and that's being stiff-necked. So you see in the order, Moshe said, and that's like we just saw it's connected Gava. And don't be stiff-necked. That's a direct result of Gava. The Baal Gaiva, as a result, will also be stiff-necked and stubborn. He doesn't want to learn, doesn't want to be Makabel Musar. Right, so that's Keneged. The right side. Being unmovable, right? Unmovable, get, stiff necked, right? That's the solace of the midah of Chesed, right? It would seem, because the next one is the solace of the midah of Din. Shlishi are tochas adam bekas, because that's where you get angry and you boil, with anger, and you speak, really, if you don't hit, you speak very not nice. But including this also is when the Yetzer fires up to do a sin. So that obviously is parallel to the fire that that the Nevi'im see. Of course, this obviously is also derived from the Gaiva. Dainu Gasev being hoarded, view shot, but clip and delay, right? Right, because it's the Gava is the root of all bad midas. So obviously, this has a root in Gava also. This being, having either being angry or just having fiery passion for bad things. God's will keep us as well, because being a Baal Gaiva has within it all these other three klipas, and all of them, spread out from him. Shratti quoted Rabbi Avram Alevi, who was around the time of the Ramak and the Arizal. And I heard from Rabbi Avram Alevi, Shekach Shosha Namar, by these three, it says, Lo Baruch Hashem, Hashem, by Eliyahu Novi's Nevu. Hashem is not in the wind, that's Gava. Lo Bar Hashem, Hashem is not in the stiff neck, it's Lo Hashem, and Hashem is not in the fire. These three very bad midas, Gava, and it's a derivative of being stiff-necked, and it's other derivative of being, full of bad fire, whether it's anger or passions for very bad things. Hashem doesn't dwell in these three, so that's Lo Baruch Hashem, Lo Bar Hashem, Lo Beish Hashem. And Bekod Mamadaka Taman Kosma, but in the silent voice, right? This thin sound voice, HaKadosh Baruch Hu does come. V'chein Pirshu. And that's also how they explained. Batikunim, the Tikunei Zor, v'chei derech b'nei echol malchus pasol yosta devrem chashai. When people are, served before the king, the king's around, they speak very quietly. You don't make noise in the presence of the king. If you're allowed to talk to each other, especially exchange important information, everything is, called mamadaka, it's the way you conduct yourself in the presence of the king. One who speaks in his low voice, that is from the ways of humility. That could cling to the king. As we're going to write in the as far as the midah of anava. It is like an inner form of yira that you should always, aside from outer yira chitzonis, is to be afraid of being punished. And you're looking over your shoulder, is Hashem watching me now? But there's more internal yira, is that you're standing before the king. You're in front of. You're always knowledgeable. Now you're not just fearful of the punishment, right? But you're not just fearful of the punishment, right? But you also, you're in the presence of the king, and you're in awe and fear because you're in front of the king. You'll not raise your voice before. This is what it says in the Tikkunim. Called one of the Yud, right? Called one of those connected to Ois Yud, right? The Ois Yud. Im Yosram de Rosh Yanachim, Makom Yanesh Bashumal, Shesor Yirahu Yud, Numat Chatzorach Liknos Hayira, Shiba Kodon Raka. All right, so now, even though when the Zohar says the Kodon is connected to Yud, it was actually talking about something else, but which he doesn't refer to. But it's also useful for our discourse over here that Yud is. We had this before many times earlier in the Shara Yira that the letter Yud of Yud K Vav K is Chochma, which is Reishis Chochma Yiras Hashem. It's connected Yira, right? Right. So of course that is connected Yud, and Yud is connected Yira, like we have learned previously. So that's you have to acquire Yira, you have to be called Mamadaka. Keep us Hagav Hashem, and keep away from the three the three shells that are all extensions of Gava Hashem, Ruach Gedola, which is the great wind, the Rash, the noise, the Eish, and the fire. There's that Kivan Shalom Shalom Ba'omro. And this could be what Shalom Malch meant when he said in Mishle, Yiras Hashem Snosra, to fear God is to hate evil. Sosra Gea V'Gaon V'Derech Rao Pita Puchas Nanesi. Right? If you have fear of Hashem, as in the Kol Dmamadaka, so you hate evil, which is being haughty, Gea V'Gaon, and the way of evil, and someone that speaks on both sides of his mouth, I think is what it means. I hate. Right? That's how Yorei Hashem talks. He hates all forms of evil, which you see includes gava, going in a bad path, and speaking double talk. We have to be Yiras Hashem, which is like the hidden goodness, which the hidden good is parallel to like the edible part, the inner edible part of the nut. The shortcuts are, but to get there, you got to break through all those peels, all those husks. Shuaruach is evil, which represents evil. She's rocking man called the Vashe. Starting Moses Karva, and you have to hate, to break through those peels, right? Is to, what that is in the person is to hate those bad meters so much, right? That he doesn't want to get anywhere near those bad meters. I hate evil. Klipa. Right, hate, which is in general evil snow. So I hate evil in general. And what are the main extensions of the general concept of evil? Gea v'gaon v'derech ra, which is gava and the bad path. So I guess he's divided up Gea. That type of gaiva is gaiva per se. Gaon is being you think you're great, so you're stubborn. So you don't accept Musar. So he's divided. Gaon is connected. The Kshay Oref V'dercha, and being in a bad path. That's having the bad fire, the fire of evil, which could be either anger or a great deal of passion to do bad. So these are the three types of husks. They're connected, the three types of peel that surround the nut that we've explained, and they are like the roots of all evil. Any bad evil trait or deed will actually branch out from these three, and even these three themselves all branch out from gaiva. V'ine, so it comes out like this. Now you want a way to just break through these husks is to just stay away from earthly pleasures, because all earthly pleasures that are not l'shem mitzvah, it's not a sudas mitzvah, it's not being done l'shem shamayim. They all come from the foreskin that came from the sin that the Nachash was machshel Adam and Chava in, and the Yetzer Hara, right? V'hainu. Right, and that is Yiras Hashem will be feared by those who are holy. Kain Machzol Lireav, and for those who fear Hashem are missing nothing. So you fear Hashem, all those who are holy, and if you're zocha to Yiras Hashem and Kain Machzol Lireav, those who fear Hashem are missing nothing. They're happy with what they have. They don't have to seek added pleasure. So So the Ramban explains in the Chumash, Keikolash and Kedusha Priestess Adam Vigiduro Mitavas Olam Ligdor Diburo V'Kayotze V'Na Tikshol Be'ezar Kel B'Yam Mevim La'anova. Right, so the Ramban has explained, in Parshas Kedosh, is a famous Ramban, that Kedusha is a person being holy in general from all earthly pleasures, even if they're mutter. Now, you shouldn't be a menuvo b'rshus HaTorah. Don't get me started about all these fressers and dancers and, drinkers, fressers, dancers, well, yeah. Just living a party life, b'rshus HaTorah. Now, that's, that's the Ramban's Kedoshim to you, right? That you should not be a novel b'rshus HaTorah. Right, being just a big Baltai behema, but technically within the guidelines of halacha. Right, and we will bring this Ramban also because it's also important for anova. A person who's too into gashmias is just impenetrable, right? And he'll never be humble. All right, so we're going to discuss this later. It's going to bring it in a few places. This Ramban again. Right. Kedusha, we say that in order to come to Anava, you have to be a holy person. Anava is, just like Gava is the worst Yetzer Hara. Anava is the highest Midah. We had this earlier. Masha Asta Anava, Ekev Suyasa Asa, Chochma Atar LaRosha. Right? Ekev Anava Hashem, Reishi is Chochma Hashem, Asa Chochma Atar LaRosha. Anava is even higher than Chochma, right? And so the heel of Anava is Yiras Hashem, which of Chochma, it's Reishis Chochma. So what is the crown of Chochma is the heel of Anava. Anava is such a high midah. So you need to reach Kedusha to reach Anava, which is an even higher Madrega. So Kedusha is a prerequisite for Anava. So to be a Kodesh, you have to be a Porush, right? You have to separate yourself from the Taivas of Olam Hazeh. As we call Los, of course, if even you shouldn't just indulge in any pleasure just because it's mutter, right? You should still not want to be an animal, even if the food is 100% kosher. And if you found a heter for the music and the tuchas shuckling, you claim it's Judaically oriented fun, the fressing and the drinking and the whatever, you act like a behemoth, right? But it's all technically musar and it's still bad, still called not being a kadosh, right? So kal v'chomer that you have to be careful not to do any real avera in the Torah. He's paraphrasing from the pasuk, if you break a boundary, you get bitten by the snake. Anyone's parts getter, which is the law, the boundaries set up by the low sases. So Shechenu Nachash, you cause the klipa, the urla that was brought into Adam through the Nachash, who was machshil, caused man to stumble. So parts getter, over on Losa, Shechenu Nachash, the snake bite of Chet Adam Rishon only gets bigger, more leveraged, better leverage inside that person, Chas v'shalom. Because the Nachash Arash, he constitutes to further penetrate inside of you. V'hainu, and that is also what the Pasaya Yirel Kim V'Samar Eov was someone who feared God. And what's fear God? V'Sar Meira. Everyone who truly fears God keeps away from doing anything evil. Right, it's also Davar Malch says until him, come children, go to it. Listen to me. I'm going to teach you Yiras Hashem. Who is a man who desires life? Or if you want to talk about wants to see good days, would love to have days that see good. Literally, nitzol shonchameira u'sachem. So hold your tongue from speaking bad and your lips from speaking deceitfully. Right. Keep away from evil and do good. Right? And people forget. Sur Meira comes before Aseitov. Yeah, just do mitzvahs. But curb your taiva first. Right? Umasha Samach Lira Miyash Chavetz Chaim. Make sure Hashem Makor Chak is Brashov So Perasheni. Now that we said, Yerashem Lametchem, and went from Yerushalayim to Miyash Chavetz Chaim, because we had earlier in Parak Sheni of Shara Yira that Yiras Hashem is the source of life, right? So we had on this already, right? Right, the idea of Surmera Vastov, don't do evil, just do good, right? But Surmera, stray away from evil, Vasetov. Well, Yer Shapir's Rashbi of Shom, but Marsh talked to them, Pashbratius. Right, this is the words of the Rashbi. This book is so full of Zohar HaKadosh. Right, so Shimon Bar Chai, it said in the Zohar that we quoted before, and in Parshas Bereshis, begin the Ilana Torah, since God, unfortunately, the world and biological man as we know him comes to the Yetzer Das Torah. That's why we have a Yetzer Tov, Yetzer Ra, and the whole world is that way from the Sitra of the Ilana of Yetzer Das Torah. Right. Zochi Bar Nashatov. So now, if you're Zoche, so you move towards the Tov of the Tov Varas. You're on the Tov side. Lo Zochi, if you're not Zoche, Chora, you'll have the Ra. And it's either or. There's no neutral ground. It's Tov, Eitzadas, Tov Vara. If you're on the good side, good. And if you're not on the good side, you are on the bad side. There's no middle ground. And therefore the Pasuk says, Surmeira, stay away from evil. Stay away from the Ra as far as you can go. So also Shalom Melech Shalom says, Chacham Yara V'Sar Meira, right? In Mishlei, be wise, be fearful of Hashem, and stray, keep away from evil. Vatam Shu Kidapirshuzao. Now to explain this even deeper, it goes back to the mission of us. Mitzvah Goreres, Mitzvah Veres Goreres Avera. A mitzvah pulls a mitzvah, and an Avera pulls another Avera, right? Mitzvah causes you to do another mitzvah, and Avera causes you to do another Avera. So now the Chassid Yavitz in his Pirush Avos explains, the mitzvahs come from the Eitz HaChaim. Right, so mitzvahs, they're not just on the good side of the Eitz Das Ra. Mitzvahs, from the Torah. The Torah is the Eitz Chaim Machzubah. So the mitzvahs, mamash, pull down energy from the Eitz Chaim that's beyond the Eitz Das Torah. It's not just on the good side of good and bad. It's bichlal beyond, from Kulo Tov, from Chaim, right? Right, then Ruchanias Tvekas Bolis Barach, the mitzvahs are from the Eitz Chaim, which is Ruchnias that clings to Hashem. Also, mitzvah Davik Bolis Barach, and as anyone does mitzvah, you're Davik to Hashem at the time that you're doing a mitzvah. And the more you do mitzvahs, the more Dvekas you have in Hashem, because mitzvahs are not just the good side of the Tovara. The mitzvah, that's where you are. That's where your body is. You have to make your body, which is stuck in this world, right? So you have to keep your body on the good side of the Tov V'Ra. But when you do mitzvahs, you have a transcendental experience, and you're clinging to the Eitz HaChaim, right? You have a dveikus, right? The more mitzvahs you do, the more dveikus you have. Mitzvah, and therefore mitzvah causes you to do another mitzvah because it's like pulling you. It's like you have an anchor, you have an anchor, and not just an anchor to the Eitz HaChaim, right? But you cling. So you could you have a lifeline to the Eitz HaChaim, lifeline literally to the Eitz HaChaim, tree of life, and you could pull on it to pull yourself closer, right? So with one mitzvah could be a stepping stone for a next mitzvah. Like you have that rope, you have that connection. You could pull on that rope to climb higher. Right? And that's also how the Mishnah ends off. According to Chassid Yav, it's just schar mitzvah, right? Which is with every mitzvah you've sanctified yourself. You pulled upon yourself some shefa from the Eitz HaChaim, right? So and for every act of sanctifying yourself, Hashem matches you and adds sanctity to the sanctity you sanctified yourself with. So you are makadosh yourself a little bit below, Masivo Kedusha Milmala, Hashem adds kedusha also, and that's also a reason why you will surely do another mitzvah, because for every step that you take the right direction, Hashem matches you and gives you more shefa of kedusha to match the amount of kedusha you strive for. So you not just go one step further, you always go 2 steps forward. You take one step, Hashem pulls you yet another step closer in response to the step that you took towards him. So this is what the Chassid, even though I didn't, he says, even though I didn't copy down the Chassid Yavet's verbatim, but it is the general summary of what he meant. Vahainu Omer is what says Zachi Barnash. If a person Zochal Tov, Kiatovu Nidabek U Chelko. Now, if a person Zochal goodness, good. Right, he's Davik and Tov, but not just in the Tov side of the Eitz Hadas Tovara, but he even breaks through to the absolute goodness of the Eitz HaChaim. Right? So there's his body physically is in the Tov side of the Eitz Hadas Tovara because of this world, but his nefesh and his pnimius is tied to yet the absolute goodness. Right, the tov that does not coexist. The absolute goodness does not coexist with evil. The tov of the Eitz Hadas, the tov of the Eitz HaChaim, right? As Chaim is not, tov and ra could coexist because when the tov is not an absolute goodness, but Chaim does not coexist with death, right? So so a person moves his body to the good side of the Eitz Hadas tov and ra, in pnimius and in his nefesh. He's connected even to the absolute goodness of the Eitz HaChaim. Right? Vim chas v'shon dabek bara, but if God forbid you're not zoch, it's either or, and you're clinging to evil. Ra chako, the ra becomes your portion, right? In reality, and you're on that side of reality. If you're stuck there, oh God, it's not going to have a good influence. So you're going to do even more evil. And that's also the chassid that's referred to the chassid Yavetz also says on the mission in his Pirush and obviously on uboreach min ha'avera, always run away from sin. If you see a raging fire and that fire has plenty of wood to continue expanding, you run as far as far away as shooting an arrow, V'samach lepirush zeh matzasi devirabo seinu v'biyalka b'pasuk, and I found a support to the pirush of the Chassid Yavetz from a Yalkut, Mishlei, and the pasuk Gamblo Das Nefshel Tov, the pasuk says it's a pasuk that a lot to learn just in pasuk below Das Nefshel Tov. Without Das, your nefesh is no good. Believe me, if you're frivolous people are not good people. These people, the tuchas shuklers, if below das you don't have yishuv das, your soul is not good. You need das, which we've explained in many other forms. Das is our anchor to reality, being anchored to Hashem, right? Without das, the nefesh is no good. The person's quick with his legs, sins like the tachas shuklers, right? The dancers, yeah. That's not spirituality. To be frivolous and lightheaded and easily dancing, that's otzraglayim. That's be quick with the legs is to sin. You have to be a settled, serious person, a bardas, settled in mind. Otherwise, your nefesh is no good. Zel Shanam Sanal Yalkut says in this pasuk, Shanam Rabboseinu, Chazal have taught us mitzagoras avera. So the Yalkut brings in connection this pasuk the mitzagoras avera. Lo yatzuram avera shasa b'shog ela shed nit patach lo petach shechta fil b'mezed. Right. A person, should not. There's no greater reason to be upset about averis you did b'shogeg other than the fact that shogeg could lead to mezid. Because shogeg said, I don't hear any angels crying because I just accidentally did this. Shogeg, you shouldn't get depressed or shogeg, but you should be upset about what you did, because it's an accident after all. So with tshuva, it's easy to erase, but you should be really upset about having done something b'shogeg because it gets you one closer to Mazid. You're just existentially, cosmically, you're closer to Mazid now. Because of the Avera B'Shogeg, you are now closer to Mazid. You are on the side of Ra, of the Eitzadas Tovara, which governs reality. So Avera B'Shogeg put you on the side of evil. Okay, it was unintentional, so it should be easier to do tshuva for and extricate yourself. But don't make light of it. But I did it by accident. Don't make light of it. Don't make light of it. You should really be upset about it for the reason that now you are closer to surely doing this thing b'mezid next time around, because you've entered the realm of evil, even though it's unintentional. It's like walking into a fire unintentionally. It was unintentional, but you're still very vulnerable now. And that's why a person should be, it's of course, it was a mistake. Don't beat up on yourself. Yeah, you don't beat up on yourself for the mistake per se. You beat up on yourself because of where you are now. You are now in danger because you've put yourself in a situation. That's what you have to be very upset about and very quick to do tshuva, to pull out because you've positioned yourself on the tzad of Ra. It's like wandering unintentionally into a bad neighborhood, right, or a dangerous situation, right? Right. But it goes the other way. You should not, you should be, you'd be happy you did a mitzvah, right? You should be happy you did something right. You know what your real happiness should be when you did a mitzvah is that it should be the beginning of a process of being ever better. So that's another thing. So around, you should feel very bad even for Avera of a shogeg. Well, why? It was a mistake. Well, no, you've moved into the tzad of Ra. It's like you went into a bad neighborhood, into an area of bad neighborhood, danger, or bad hashpah, bad influence. So what if you wound up there showing you're in a bad place, and it's going to lead to worse things, and that's why you have to be really upset and quickly do tshuva for an avera b'shogeg. But the same thing goes the other way in a similar vein. Says this Yalkut, if you do a mitzvah, you're proud of yourself. Don't be too proud of yourself. Be happy because a mitzvah leads to a mitzvah. Meaning you should never be complacent. So, Avera b'shogeg, you feel bad because now you're closer to an Avera b'mezid. You're closer. You're on the sitra de Ra. You're on the bad side. You feel bad about that. So it's just a mistake. So what? But you're in a bad place. That's what you should be afraid of. The danger you've put yourself in, and that should motivate you to cleanse yourself of that Avera b'shogeg. Because if you leave yourself there, you're leaving yourself in a precarious, and you're leaving yourself on the tzadara. Say on the tzadatov, you should never be complacent. You always want to be going mechayel chayel. So the real simple shot from mitzvahs is the fact that it's going to lead to more mitzvahs, not stay where you are. Right? And therefore, if a person does b'shogeg, that's otzpur raglayim, and that's you were quick with your feet. You didn't think. You were quick with your feet. You didn't go thoughtfully. That's why it's very dangerous going on with this frivolous movement they call being besimcha. It's frivolity, and it's lightheadedness, and there's nothing holy about it. It makes you toast for the Yetzer Hara. Initially, just b'shogeg because you're just not taking things too seriously, and God knows where it's going to lead to. Hashem, yeah. This is these are the words of Chazal. Right, we'll do one more. You should be afraid of sin. Even just be afraid of sin. It's like being afraid of fire. So what? You walk into a fire unintentionally. You want to be careful not to walk into fire unintentionally also. It's not just, if something's bad, you don't want to stumble in it or encounter it or walk into it even unintentionally. That's called yiras chet. You're afraid of being in sin, whether intentionally. You don't want to be in the bad place of sin. You have to be afraid of sin, and you should stay far from sin and be afraid of being in sin. Because sin is evil. So what if you did it unintentionally? You're in a bad situation. So avera subsosco, it's achirus. It causes you to become coarse. It's psolas hakedusha. It's called the husks of kedusha. You're in a bad place, and then you've also, if you accidentally drink poison, you're not going to get sick, right? Accidentally eat bad food. So you actually did avera. You see, increase your spiritual coarseness inside of you. Lashon chisaron, and this chet is lashon of chisaron, of being lacking. Bathsheba says, "Rani and my son Shlomo will come up short if we're like not on the right side of things." So, he's saying, you have to make sure it's clear that Shlomo is going to be king. Otherwise, Adoniyahu, who thinks he's going to be king, is going to view us as, coming up short, not without the perfect allegiance, right? I think it's a point. I could have thought of other better rayas of chatoim. Yaakov says to Lavan, "Anochi achateno." If any sheep were missing, I'll take it as my loss. Anochi achateno. Okay. Either way, chet means chisaron, something missing. So a loss, something missing, right? So even if you're not guilty for being a criminal if you did something b'shogeg, but you still are lacking. You still are lacking. You did something bad. You did something that's harmful to you and to the cosmos. So you're still lacking. He was saying because when you went into the husks, the klipas, and the crops are missing divine light. You're in an area of where the divine light don't shine. Therefore, you have to be so scared if you do the right? I'm in a bad neighborhood right now. I'm in a place where the divine light doesn't shine. I wandered in here inadvertently, but I'm now, I'm in a situation where the divine light doesn't shine. And because it's, like I say, it's, like we opened up today's session with, there's twin, good twin, evil twin. Just like in mitzvahs, the more mitzvahs you do, the more spiritual you are, and it's just going to cause you to do more mitzvahs. Also, anyone who does averos clings to the averos. So even though it's not as bad as doing it barotzon, but you did it and you're there, and being there in a situation where the divine light doesn't shine, right, it's going to cause you, if you're in darkness, it's going to cause you to stumble even more until you're going to do from that shogeg mezi Rahman Tzakash, who should help us. He will continue on this topic further, and we'll continue next time, Bezrat Hashem.